Progress Racing presents Show Us Your Tips, Daggy Beaver, with you for the midweek preview show, kicking off this afternoon at Canterbury, where it is a heavy 10 with the rail in the 3 metre mark. We're surprisingly light on scratchings actually this morning, which is a good thing, I guess. Think the track might play rails early and possibly, he'd be getting wider by the end of the day, but we'll keep an eye on that. Any thoughts on the day, Beaver?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think that's how the track will play, probably down the middle of the track, and see how they're finishing off. It's probably going to be the best place to be.
Kick off with 1100 metre 2-year-old race to start the day, which looks a bit up for grabs for me. Couldn't really rubber stamp much of it. Did you have a thought here?
Yeah, I think that's right. It looks like it's up for grabs here. The main players in the market look to be first starters, so hard to get a line on these. Yeah, I didn't really have something, and the trial form was a bit mixed. Probably the best of the trialers is the favourite, but you got to have a close watch on most of the others in this field. So I really couldn't tip anything with any comfort.
Yeah, sort of agree there. Race 2 is a 2-year-old fillies, 1250. Got a better opinion here?
Yeah, interesting little race here. The favourite from the Snowden camp wasn't too bad in its first up effort. I've gone for the Waller trained Sybilla. Thought it was a nice enough run first up at Canterbury this prep in a similar race. Finished off quite nicely. I think it'll be better improved from that. And if you go back to its first race start, ran 3 lengths behind Fireburn. So that's not a bad form line for a race like this. Was in the market. So I think it can improve.
I'm with the favourite here, Pierre. Also, I thought it was a pretty good effort hitting the line at the track. Last start from the same one at the same race, Viander Chance was just held up a bit and does go Kathy to Nash, which I think can finish both can feature in the finish again. And yeah, you mentioned the other Waller horses. The one with Bowman on Vienna Princess, 2 very quiet trials. I sort of wasn't quite sure to make of them. So depending how the market goes, I may even look at having something small in that as well. But mainly Pieros on top from Viander Chance. Race 3 is a benchmark 72 for the 3-year-olds. A tricky race where I ended up putting I'm Divine on top just off the last start effort, where it finished second at the track, distance back at Warwick Farm, behind a decent one in Democracy Manifest, gap back to the rest of the field, and just more siding with race fitness than anything here in another tricky race. What have you found?
Yeah, it is another tricky race, and I thought your selection's probably one of the hardest to beat. But I've gone for Torfik Lass. I know it's kind of been around the mark there, but it's been racing in good company, and it's been performing quite well. It finished super hard at Scone last start, come from near the tail, 16th on the turn, finished only a couple of lengths from the winner in a bit of a blanket. Prior to that, had some decent form in around Randwick, behind Kinlock, who was flying at the time, and has run some nice races. Lees goes all right, likes the sting out of the ground. This is a really open affair, so I just went for Torfik Lass.
Beautiful. Race 4 is a benchmark 72 over the 1550. We saw the favourite demolish them here a couple of weeks ago. Is that the way you're leaning?
No, I've gone for the resuming Kirkby from the Waller stable. Wild Chap was pretty good last start and did demolish them. Gets a 2 kilo claim here, but I think Kirkby resuming here, if it's fit enough and fresh, obviously probably does its best work. Probably a little bit further than this, but if you go back again to last preparation. It was a really good. It had some really good form there up in Brizzy. Won a race, beat Youngblood by a couple of lengths at Doomben. Then come out and started favourite and wasn't far off from Stuck With You. They were all decent enough stayers in and around Brisbane. This is not a difficult affair. It could be hard to beat if ready.
Yeah, trial was fantastic too. You've covered off really well. Actually, I agree with you. And I love the trial and has JMac first up. So on top, I think there's only two chances from the favourite Wild Chap who did destroy them here in the same conditions. But yeah, was very taken with the trial of Kirkby there. Race 5 is a benchmark 72 over the 1250, where I think there might be a good thing here in crosstalk. Two sensational trials, debuted and bolted in first up last time. Now first up, second prep in Australia. So all looks good to me. What have you made of this?
Yeah, same. Crosstalk looks super hard to beat. Jumps and runs here, probably leads them up. And it's got a great front running jockey in Tim Clark aboard. So yeah, crosstalk for me.
Race 6, 1250 benchmark 64. I was with the Kieran Maher horse here, Jayanthi, coming up from Melbourne. Ran in some okay stuff. A nice win, a couple back, and was solid enough at Sandown last time. Looks to handle the wet okay, and from its start on it, a couple of starts in a soft too, and just lack of opposition really. So I was happy to be with it, but nothing the market again is not telling you here, Beaver.
Yeah, this was a bit of an interesting race. I kind of looked at Jayanthi and went, bringing it to Sydney. It's got good form in the midweeks down in Melbourne, and I thought it showed a bit of ability there. So I did kind of lean towards it based on the fact that Mayu's just brought it here, and I suspect they're looking for the softer going because that suits this horse best, and drawn the 7. I was worried about Oryx. I think it's a horse that's got plenty of improvement. I think it's between that. Those two have it between them. I just went for Jayanthi based on that and the fact that it's drawn 7, and Oryx is stuck on the fence.
Beautiful. Wrap up the day with the staying contest, 1900 metres, benchmark 64. How are we going to finish off?
Look, yeah, this was a tricky affair. I was looking away from the favourite and ended up going to the third up Pentecost from the Hawk stable. I think its last run continued to improve out to the 1600. Now gets out to the 1900 metres here, which I think it'll suit it. Both runs this prep have been good, been solid enough, and I think it looks like it can probably handle a bit of the wet as well. So Pentecost for me.
Tricky race. I ended up putting Oceanography on top. I sort of went looking for the fittest horse, right stable. This last two starts have been okay, and a bit of a claim. I know it's on paper got a lot of weight, but a bit of a claim there gets it back in. And I struggled to really get my head around much else of the race. To be honest, I can't imagine I'll be betting too much into this one. So that's the way I've finished up here. For progretracing.com.au, do you have a best and value on the card?
Yeah, no surprise. My best bet's Crosstalk. Just looks a standout on the card. And then the value was pretty tricky. There's a few horses I think that are tipped here that are around the $5-6 mark. I thought probably the best value is Sybilla in the second race, number 8.
Yes, again, struggled for a bit of value as well. So the couple I mentioned, I guess, will make it I'm Divine around the $5 mark in race 3 there. We head down to Sale, where it is a good track, rail true, and some interesting youngsters stepping out for the first or second time. We kick off with the 2-year-olds over the 1,000 metres. How are we going to start the day down there?
Yeah, it looks like a race in 2 here. The 2 in the market, based on the exposed form, look to have it between them. I'm going to go Winning Revolution. Thought it was pretty impressive in a listed race for its first race start at Morphettville. Only just got nabbed on the line by a McAvoy horse that looks to have a bit of ability. Was well in the market, so I think it'll be further improved by the experience, and Moody taking it back to Melbourne at Sale is a good pointer for me.
Race number 2 is... Oh, I agree. Sorry, I should probably give my tips. I agree. Everything you said. Debuted in a listed race, was pretty good there. The horse that beat it looks a talented one as well. So all that stacks up pretty well. And coming back to a Sale Maiden sets up pretty well for it. Another next maiden in the card, 1200 meters, is sees. Look, I've put the Waller horse Sizzle Pine on top. I've got a feeling it might need a bit further, so that's the only concern I had. Was off the bit early, but chased and hit the line pretty well, and I just couldn't find much opposition away from it. I'd say if it's going to lose, it'll be one of the unraced horses here. What have you done?
Yeah, my analysis is fairly similar to yours here. I thought the same about Sizzle Pine. I actually think it's not too bad a value, to be honest. It was well found in the market first up, and certainly didn't disappoint. Bit of gear change today that could help, and knuckled down quite well. So a little bit of extra fitness here. I'll probably stoke it up a little bit earlier here, and might just outgun him at the end.
The third race is a 1700 meter maiden. So just double check the scratchings. What have you done here?
Yeah, look, of the exposed form, nothing really excited me. So I've gone, I kind of was looking at either the one Calvi first starter or Installation. Just going to look for market moves there. So I'd watch the market, and if money comes for either of those, they'd be the ones I'd be looking towards.
Yeah, I was the same. Installation on top, but very interesting to see two unraced horses step out at 1700 on debut. So
yeah,
I assume they must be stayers. So we'll, again, like you, just watch the market there. Race 4 is a 1400 meter maiden, where a little bit the same here. I've gone with the I couldn't really get a straight line on the favourite, but it's been well backed. I can see in the same colours as the one earlier, Rura Penthi. So I won't be betting, but I assume it must have a bit of talent to be marked that price. Have you got any better intel?
No, I was the same as you. The Jai McNeil booking from the Wallace stable is a very good pointer. Money has come for it. First up, drawn well, should run well. And again, the exposed form of others is not overly exciting.
Quarter kicks off with race 5, a 1400 meter benchmark 64. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I've gone for the Cummings Train Gymnastics. So I think it's 4 runs this time in have been pretty good. Had first three starts this prep in Sydney. Newcastle, Hawkesbury were at 1 and won quite nicely, and then went to Goulburn. Probably a little bit disappointing at Goulburn, to be honest, but they pursued and took it down to Sandown, and it was an outstanding run at 20s. Got well out of its ground and flashed home to only be a length off the winner. I think it'll be further improved here. The 1400 suits and hardest to beat.
I went with Bold Hoi Ho. I really liked its debut. Rode the pace and won pretty softly. Comes here, and it's in these benchmark sort of low benchmark races, the lightly raced ones are always going to be the ones I'll be looking for. So one that's going to roll forward from the outside gate and give them all something to chase was a big tick for me. So well and truly on top. And you found the main danger there in gymnastics, I thought. Race 6 is benchmark 64 again, over the mile, where again I've found another lightly raced one with a step up in distance really suiting, I think, here House Spout I speak of. For the Painyard, we know once you get out to these sort of distances, they're very competitive, and after the scratchings, I think it goes on top. What have you done here?
Yeah, really like this horse. I think it's ready to hit its straps this time in. Again, third up, continual improvement, a fifth and a third. I think it'll improve more here. Paddy Payne's flying. And as you said, this types of race with these types of horses are right up his alley. It's a clear on top for me.
Beautiful. Race 7, I should say. Again, another lightly raced one over the 1,000, a benchmark 70 here though, where I'm again going to find Brownie. Bounced to the top, did some good stuff last prep, very impressive. In a couple of those wins, again will be on the pace, and I think again will be hard to beat. Nice setup, I think, for it. What have you thought?
Yeah, it looks clear on top to me again here as well. This is a pretty weak affair for it resuming. I think it's got, this is raced in town. and had some nice wins. Look, this looks like a really, really well-placed first up tilt.
And we wrap up the day with the staying contest, the 2200 metre benchmark 64. What are you doing here?
Oh, look, again, this is a race with not a lot of depth to it, which I think's been the story of the day here.
Yeah.
It's, you know, there's not a lot of horses. If you're looking away from the fancied horses, you're doing a bit of it with your eyes closed. If you ask me, some of the form just is all over the shop. I stuck with French War. Only lightly raced. Only had the 5 starts. And it looks like getting out to these distances is right up its alley. 2 starts back at Sale, so it seems to like Sale. Got well out of its ground over its first time over 2200. Flew home to be only a couple of lengths off them, and then last start absolutely killed them. Had big weight, 64, so I'll handle the weight, and can't see why and how there's anything here that would probably knock it off.
Agree. Nothing more to add. Very impressive win last time. Soft through the line. I think it will do the same again. Back into this card has me, I think there's some very good betting opportunities at the end of the day. So
yeah, I do too.
Patience, we can get some money out of it. For progroupracing.com.au, you're going to stamp one of them, your best in value?
Yeah, my best, I've gone for race 6, number 6, House Spouse as my best bet. And my value bet is going to be race 8, number 2, French War. I know it's favourite, but I think that price is value at the moment. If you're getting that price close to $4, I think it's probably a point over where it should be in this race.
I agree. I don't really have a value to stamp apart from that. Sort of agree with you. I think the back end of the card, you can maybe even link up a few of them, and the favourites through the last 4 races, really, I think they're all going to be very hard to beat. We'll make that my value because I don't have much to stamp earlier. So that's our thoughts on the Melbourne card as well. You got anything up in Queensland?
Mate, I didn't have anything up in Queensland because I thought Queensland is off. There is no Queensland.
Makes it easy.
No, nothing scheduled. So save me some time.
Perfect. I will be back to talk about Queensland on a Thursday night, though, with some of the transferred meeting from last week. I'm heading to Eagle Farm now. And some good racing up there. And as well as the support card from one of the eastern states. Good job, mate. Apart from that, check out progroupracing.com.au, subscribe there, and we will talk to everyone shortly. Catch you soon.